progress is progress, even if it's not going at a very fast clip. And sometimes progress involves you doing things differently than the way you expected.
Whatever it is, try to do it consistently and try to set the bar achievable so that you can be consistent. I would rather you be consistent a half an hour a day than spotty an hour every other week.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, love, health, and wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode number 1612. Maybe, I would say, top 5 favorite episodes we've ever done. What's the story you've told yourself about yourself? Very hyper-conscious. Please go back and listen if you haven't. Today, for episode number 1613, do you reset your goals or reset yourself? Just disclaimer for those watching YouTube, I have a bloody nose a little bit, so if you see blood dripping down my nose and I wipe it, I'm aware of it, but we're going to power through because that's what we do. Alan and I were talking today, and I said, what do you think would make a valuable episode based on what your clients are going through? And he said, well, I think a lot of people are having a really hard time right now because we got through the first month of the year. We're 2 weeks into February, and at least where we are in New England, it's cold and it's dark. It's starting to change, but it's just the winter blues are here, and the resolutions we made, if you made resolutions, probably seem pretty far away right now. You made them however many days ago. So at this point in the year, what do you do if you feel like you're struggling? Do you just throw in the towel and say, no, there's always next year? Do you reset your goals and try to shoot at a different goal? Or do you reset yourself, have an honest conversation with yourself, and then figure out, is this an emotional thing? Is this a logical thing? And then kind of take it from there.
I'm writing a blog right now. I've actually been working on it for a long time. And it's coming out at the end of February. It's going to be February's blog, but it's on the 5 S's of success: sacrifice, struggle, suffer, success. And then the last one we created is sustain. And I think that January 1st hit, everybody's motivated. We did a monthly meetup. I think it was January 4th. I forget when the meetup was. January 4th? Yeah. So the 4th of January, it's the evening. We're all fired up. We're excited for 2024. And we create a meetup called Setting Clear Goals for 2024. And it was one of our best workshop-esque monthly meetups. We had a great attendance, and everybody went through taking their dreams and breaking them down into yearly goals, breaking them down into quarterly goals, breaking them down into daily habits. And I just think that we're mid-February now, and I think it's kind of the grind. I told Kev, I said, I think a lot of my clients, myself included, you as well, have mentioned this, are looking up this mountain, you know, having climbed the first part of it for the year, just going, oh my God. It seems so damn high. And, you know, all success starts with sacrifice, giving something up, you know, whether it's extra workouts, giving up quality time with your relationship, or, you know, working extra hours, or picking up a shift on the side, doing DoorDash, whatever it might be for extra capital. And so, you know, you've got sacrifice, struggle, and suffer. Those are the first 3 S's, and I think this is the suffer. I think a lot of people are in the, wow, I was super pumped about 2024. And this is it. This is where the rubber meets the road. I don't know if I can sustain this. I don't know if this is what I really wanted. And that's the energy that I feel. And maybe that's me, but I think it's also clients. And at the end of the day, I think statistically speaking, my clients set really large goals. So maybe they're feeling it more than others. I don't know. But our listeners, if you have goals that you set at the beginning of the year, resolutions, how are you feeling? Let's check in. How are you feeling? Are you crushing it? There was a post in Next Level Nation, shout out to Amy. She said something along the lines of, how is everybody feeling about their goals? And I think there was a bunch of different options, 4 different options. I think one of them was absolutely struggle bus, haven't done a thing, I suck, something like that. And she didn't, I'm paraphrasing, she didn't say I suck. The third one was something along the lines of, I'm doing okay, I'm making some progress, but not nearly the progress I want. And then there was one that was like, I'm making progress, but definitely far from perfect. I'm struggling, but I'm making progress. And then the top one was, I'm crushing. I'm absolutely crushing it. And most people picked that second one. And the second one is, I'm not crushing it, but I'm still in the game. Still in the game. And if we were to do that poll again today, I would probably be, and that's the one I picked, by the way, I'd probably be on I'm having a hard time. I was telling Kevin this earlier, and this is about me, but I want our listeners thinking about their own habits. All of 2023, I struggled to write every day. I struggled to write consistently. I struggled to do mobility consistently. I struggled with WhatsApp. So I picked all the things that I struggled with in 2023, and I decided to dial them in 2024. I got some public accountability. I was sending my EA, Jerry Ann, a check mark every day, every time I wrote. And here I am in 2024, and I haven't missed a single day of the Dreamliner. And I didn't plan on this, but I created this concept called the Big Five to Thrive. Kevin and I did a speech 6 years ago, and I called it my Big Five to Thrive. And back when I was fitness coaching, and this is the same concept. The idea is the 5 most important habits each day for each of us based on your goals. So my Big Five to Thrive is the Dreamliner. I wake up every morning, I do my Dreamlining. 10 minutes of mobility while learning. I write 20 minutes, I do WhatsApp 20 minutes, and I exercise 30 minutes a day. And I've not missed my Big Five to Thrive once in 2024. I've done it every single day for all of 2024. But I'll tell you what, and that sounds really cool, whatever, awesome. And it is. It really is. And I'm grateful. So I don't want to sound defeated here. But there's that moment of, am I going to be able to do this for the rest of the year? It's definitely one of those things of, all right, I've been grinding. I've been doing it. The luster has definitely worn off. It's not like, ooh, congratulations, I write every day, and so I was pumped for a while. I was feeling it. I was feeling the momentum, and I was like, yeah, I'm writing now. This is great. I took me all 2023 to try to figure out how to do this, and now I'm doing it every single day. Go me. And without Emilia's support, there's no way I would be able to. But I think a lot of my clients, to Kevin's original ask, is I think a lot of my clients, myself included, are just feeling the drudgery of the climb. Saying we've climbed mountains or we're climbing a mountain in a couple months is really cool. The actual climbing itself can get really sucky in the middle. And, I just want to make that okay. I want to give everyone the permission to have middle of February kind of suck. And that's where I'm at.
I was listening to a new artist, not new artist, it's an artist that I've recently started listening to, a rapper, Benny the Butcher. Sounds rather intense. But at the beginning of one of his songs, he says, none of this feels as good as it looks. And I like that. I like that thought. None of this feels as good as it looks. I like that.
It's a fact.
That's a fact. I still don't know where I am with this, but I had a goal to lose 7 to 8 pounds before Next Level Live. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I don't want to say I don't know if I'm capable. I'm capable of it. I don't know if it'll be healthy for me to try to do that while doing everything else. I don't want anything else to take a back seat to that. So my inner dialogue is, do I reset my goal and say, look, so I have a tattoo that says never quit. Am I quitting on my goal? No, I don't look at it that way. I look at it as I'm reformulating and putting that energy into something that's probably more important right now. Yeah, it would be really cool to weigh 170 pounds for Next Level Live. I don't know if I care that much. I don't know if I care enough to do it. Or at least I don't know if I care enough to suffer through the next 40 some odd days to get there. I don't know if I want to do that. So I might reset my goals and just say, well, let me hit X amount of jiu-jitsu sessions and X amount of fitness sessions. But that's the other thing. We did, so at the meetup, I said I wanted to do X amount of weightlifting sessions and X amount of jiu-jitsu sessions.
Yeah, we use you as the guinea pig, so to speak.
Yes.
The warrior. We call it a warrior. Whoever.
Guess how many jiu-jitsu sessions I've done this year?
0?
0 sessions I've done. 0. Goose egg. Beginning of the year, I got shingles. So I couldn't go even if I wanted to because I was contagious to some degree. Then my shoulder was mangled. So I couldn't even lift my shoulder up. So that was cool. And then stuff has grown so fast that if I'm literally getting up, and again, I signed up for this and this is exactly what I want and this is what's necessary to get to where we're going. So I'm not saying it in a bad way. But if I don't get up at 5 or 5:30, I am jeffed because there's so much social media stuff to do and WhatsApp stuff to do. I don't know that I have the time right now to make it a priority. It sucks letting that goal go. I wanted to get X amount of weightlifting sessions in BJJ, but it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I have to reset the goal and just understand, look, it doesn't mean it's a lost cause. It doesn't mean it's a lost cause because there's so many other things that are going so well. What would I rather have? Would I rather have all the time in the world because the business is suffering, but I'd have all the time in the world to go grapple? No, that wouldn't be better. I would rather have this, honestly, if I'm thinking about it, because it's something I can keep focusing on, and when I move, maybe I'll put a mini gym in the basement. That'll solve some of these problems. Maybe I can find someone local and I can put some mats in the basement and find somebody local wherever I end up. I don't know where we're going. That grapples. Cool. I could do that. That'd be cool. Sometimes I think we forget that progress is progress, even if it's not going at a very fast clip. And sometimes progress involves you doing things differently than the way you expected. I really think that's kind of it. This week, I wanted to go Tuesday and Thursday. I just found out you and I are recording at 10:30 tomorrow, so I'm not going to have time. And Thursday, I'm traveling to Connecticut to go see a client, so I'm not even going to be home. So I can't do it Thursday. Mm-hmm. So that's not going to work. So there's another week gone. Maybe I'll do it this weekend. I don't know. So again, I don't want to make this episode about me, but I'm definitely riding the struggle bus when it comes to this. And I think the only advice I would give, or that I'm capable of giving that might land, is focus on prioritizing the stuff that matters the most. Mm-hmm. Your 5 to Thrive is huge. Taryn and I have been spending a good amount of time together, which is super, super important to me because there's been ebbs and flows where that hasn't happened. Fitness hasn't been great. Diet hasn't been great. Business has been good. So health, wealth, and love, it's so hard to level all three of them up. The most challenging thing in the world. Right now, one ain't doing it.
Having level 10 standards in all three at the same time is a good way to feel terrible about yourself. If I were to create a formula of how to feel terrible about yourself, I would say, all right, sit down and set a level 10 goal in an unreasonable timeline for health, wealth, and love, and try to do them all at the same time. And don't let yourself miss ever. Don't let yourself pivot ever and beat yourself up every single time you miss.
Sounds pretty bad.
That's the way to crush your self-esteem. Now, does that mean... Now, let me give you one that would be a better formula. That would not crush your self-esteem, but also help you achieve things. Because achievement's important. You can't just be like, okay, well, then I'm not going to have goals. That's not a solution either. That's an overswing. Setting a level 10 goal in an unreasonable timeline in health, wealth, and love all simultaneously, and then giving yourself zero grace along the way, that will destroy your self-esteem. That is not what we suggest. What I do suggest, however, setting a reasonable, achievable, intelligent goal under health, under wealth, and under love, and then working towards those and measuring yourself based on effort and progress, not necessarily perfection. And so, for example, Emilia and I, in 2023, we did exercise every day for 30 minutes, and then she upped it to 35 minutes in 2024. We canned that and stuck with 30. And there have been probably 5 or 6 workouts where we're like, can we just do a half hour today? Because it was late. It was like 10 o'clock at night or something. It's like, I'm not going to go. No, like minimum. I want to do the minimum to keep the promise to myself. Keep the promise to you. We're accountability partners. And so the Big 5 to Thrive, I think, is a really cool way to level up your health, wealth, and love. But I've found it really, really difficult to... You can only have so many non-negotiables. That's what I used to say. You can't have 50 non-negotiables. You can't. There's no way. But you can have 5. And you need grace and you need support and you need to set them. And this is the lesson for me, for everyone listening. Emilia asked me, she said, how's the WhatsApp thing going? I said, really, really good. Because she actually had the idea, because WhatsApp was this giant mountain for me. And everyone think of the thing that keeps piling up on them. I don't want to just talk about me the whole time. Think about what's piling up on you. For some of you, it's laundry, just piles up, piles up, piles up. For some of you, it's
Emails.
The kids.
Emails.
Emails is a big one, right? They just keep piling up. Cooking, cleaning, house, whatever. The thing that keeps piling up. For me, WhatsApp felt like an unwinnable game. It was like a treadmill that only sped up. And I was grateful. So it's like, well, it must be so hard to be so valued. That's not what I'm saying. I'm actually very grateful for it. You know, bigger team is growing, NLU's growing, community's growing, great company, great team, great community. I'm very grateful. I remember crickets back in the day.
Definitely.
Where we would have loved a WhatsApp message. So I'm not complaining about that. I think it's great. But Emilia had this great idea. She said, well, why don't you just do 20 minutes a day instead of trying to batch it? Because I would try to batch it, and it would take me an hour and a half because it would pile up, and then I would avoid it for like 3 or 4 days, and then I'd batch it again. And it became this unclimbable mountain. She said, let's try just doing 20 minutes a day. And so the lesson in that was it has to be enough time or enough of a habit to where your brain thinks it's worth it. So if I did 2 minutes a day, my brain would be like, screw it. No point. It's not enough. But 20 minutes is the sweet spot. The sweet spot where it's enough to where my brain says, definitely worth it. It's going to make a dent. That's a good thing. But not so much that it's unsustainable. And she said, is 20 minutes good? And I said, yeah, it's perfect. I tried writing for a half an hour every day in 2023, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't sustain it. Now, if I wasn't doing anything else, could I do it? Of course. And so for you, whatever's important to you, try to prioritize that. Maybe you use Big 5 to thrive. Maybe you use Big 3. Maybe you pick one and start there and then build to 2, 3, 4. Whatever it is, try to do it consistently and try to set the bar achievable so that you can be consistent. I would rather you be consistent a half an hour a day than spotty an hour every other week. And I do feel strongly that that's the case because those little promises that you show up for yourself, show up for yourself, show up for yourself, I'm telling you, that builds self-esteem. And that's the opposite of what we're talking about, which is crushing your self-esteem by setting goals and never adjusting them, never shifting them, never giving yourself the permission to change.
Next Level Nation, what is happening? If you've thought to yourself, I want to try coaching, but you don't really know where to start, group coaching would be a wonderful place for you. That's really why we created it in the first place. We start a new round every 90 days. So if you're hearing this, go to the website, nextleveluniverse.com, and we have the landing page where you can actually hold your spot right now. Even if there's a group going on right now, you can still lock your spot for the next one. The biggest thing that we've seen is as we get closer and closer to the date, unfortunately, some people end up missing. The group fills up and they can't do it, and then they end up regretting that. So please head over to the website. The link will be in the show notes, and we would love to see you there. I had a thought during your epic monologue. What is the minimum you can do to get the maximum? I don't mean the minimum like what's the least I can possibly do. There is a sweet spot for all of us where there is a right amount of quote-unquote work that's going to get you to the maximum result because you'll do it long enough. It's different for everybody. It's different for everybody. But maybe it's, well, I really want to write a book this year. Okay, cool. You could sit down and say, all right, I'm going to try to write the book today. No, that didn't work. All right, I'm going to try to write it again today. And you'd never start because it's in your mind, there's no way I'm going to get 300 pages done today. No, I don't know if that's humanly possible. On the other end, you might say, well, I'm going to write 5 words a day. That might not be enough. You might get a year in and say, okay, I have 2,000 words. This is going to take forever. Maybe to Alan's point, it's 20 minutes or it's 10 minutes or it's 15 minutes or it's 30 minutes. The minimum that you know you can do every single day, it can grow too. It can go from 25 to 30 to 35 to 40. What if that's the best way to get the maximum results for you? Because it's what you're going to do most sustainably. I think that's a really good takeaway. That would be my next level nugget for this. Maybe going to the gym for an hour every day is not sustainable. Yeah, we've done this before. We talked about the difference between realistic and optimal, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Pretty much what you'll be able to do every day versus what would be ideal for you to do every day. Realistic and ideal is usually what I say. Realistic, idealistic. Ideally, yes, maybe you'd go to the gym 6 times a week. You'd have an off day. You'd track all your calories. You'd do everything. Ideally, sure. But we don't live in a perfect world. What is it that you could do? Maybe you have a walking treadmill that you do for 20 minutes while you're working every day. To Alan's point, you're going to get more results doing something every day for 20 minutes than doing it an hour once a week. Mm-hmm. You just will. That's definitely my new frame. Yeah, it sounds really cool to say I have this. There's a lot of memes about morning routines. Like I get up at 2:14 in the morning, and when I wake up, I step right off onto my cold plunge. And I derobe and I pop my headphones in and I listen to an audiobook on 8x speed while I cold plunge. And then on my walk from my cold plunge to my hot sauna, I read 46 pages of my favorite book. In the sauna, I post on social media 6 times a day. And then I have a 2-minute breakfast with my family. And then I take my private jet to my private jet, and then I go to the office. I go to the office. And then I have 26 meetings. They're only 3 minutes apiece because I want to get as many done as humanly possible. Then I fly home. But I don't go directly home. I actually go somewhere else. That all sounds awesome, and it's cool. In an ideal world, we'd all have fire morning routines like that.
Hey, that doesn't sound awesome. That sounds stupid.
It does sound stupid. It is. I do think it is. I think it is stupid. It sounds really good on social media, I guess. And whatever, nothing against you if you do any of those things. Trust me. I would like to cold plunge. I don't know if I would. I definitely like a sauna, for sure. That's something I want to do in the future. All I'm saying is, let's make it more sustainable than sexy. That's it. Sustainable stuff usually isn't super sexy. Mm-hmm. It's not really sexy to say, yeah, I know you run 6 miles 3 times a week, but for me, I'm going to run a half a mile every day. Awesome. Go do that. Or walk a half mile. Awesome. Go do that. Sustainability over sexiness. That would be my next level nugget for this episode.
Yeah, I think you'll realize later on when you compare apples to apples. I even looked at some of my journal entries from the beginning of the year to now. It's wild how different I am. And that's only a month and a half. So when you sustain these things, the compound effect, I'll share this. If you improve by 1% of 1%, which is 0.1%. Oh, I screwed that up. It's 0.1%, which is 1/10 of 1%. Yeah. So 0.1%. If you improve by 0.1% per day, and you could sustain it, you'd end up 33 times better, 34 times better in a decade. And I know that sounds too far out, but you'd be blown away at your health, wealth, and love because a 0.1% improvement per day is so easy to do. I mean, that's yoga mat for 10 minutes.
Yeah, reading for
10 minutes.
Pages.
Yeah. That's 0.1% is so doable. It's so doable. So I would love for everyone 10 years from now to be blown away at how far they've come And that's what I believe in so deeply. That's why we do so many NLU episodes, because once a day is way better than, imagine that. Imagine we did one episode a week for 2.5 hours. That would not be the same. It's the same amount of time in your ears, but it's not the same amount of improvement in your life.
Or it wouldn't be for us either. We would not.
I know.
It would be drastically different to sit for 2.5 hours versus 7 30-minute episodes, 20, 30-minute episodes.
Yeah. And the in between, we get to understand things differently. We get to speak differently. We get to identify. We get improvements, different next level nuggets, different topics. We're learning, we're reflecting, we're contemplating in between. We actually live in between. So I've said this before, this will be my next level nugget. This will be the last thing. I used to say this all the time when I was a fitness coach because I really wanted people to understand what is possible for them, especially people who I used to struggle to be consistent in fitness so deeply. I didn't work out for years, and I was so unhappy with myself. I said, you and I can go to the gym for 9 hours. You, me, Kev, right now, listener, we can go to the gym today for 9 hours, hypothetically. And we can crush it for 9 hours straight. Just crush it. And it's going to be detrimental, not good. It's not going to do much for your life. It's not going to change your life. It's not going to change your physique even that much. I actually did a marathon that took me almost 9 hours. It didn't change my life that much. Didn't change my physique that much. If anything, it
not in a positive way.
Not in a positive way. My ears still aren't the same because I got so sunburned that day. They still feel different.
Interesting.
I put sunblock on everything except for my ears.
It's a rookie move.
I forgot. It was a
well,
rookie
you're
move.
you're like a vampire. You don't go out in the sun that often, so you don't really have a good procedure for that.
Also true. But if you take that 9 hours and you break it into half hours, that's 18 workouts. What if instead Kevin and I said, we're going to take you through 18 half-hour workouts? Do you think that you could build a habit of fitness in 18 workouts, and we're going to stay with you? We got you for the first 18. Okay, 18 days in a row, just a half hour. Just a half hour. That might create a habit, and that might change your whole life. Versus one 9-hour workout isn't going to do anything. And I'm so convinced of that. I think that we see people's results on the outside, and we wish we could have that. We wish we could be an actor or an actress or a podcaster. But if you could just start small and get some momentum, it really would change your life. But any sort of overnight success is just not constructive to shoot for.
Unless you buy this product that I have here, where overnight success is guaranteed.
Oh, yeah?
3
Yeah, keep
easy
going. How
payments.
much?
3 easy payments of all that you got.
What am I going to get? 6-pack abs, $1 million without working?
Minimum.
Minimum $1 million. Oh.
Yeah, you might get 7 abs. 7 abs. You might get 7 abs. When you were saying 18 days, have you ever heard, the band Buck Cherry?
Mm-hmm.
They have a song called 18 Days.
Nice.
I believe they wrote their album in 18 days, maybe.
Yeah, and the decade prior of.
Yeah. Well, no, they didn't learn everything, and
they must have bought your program.
They did, actually.
Yeah,
My first testimonial. Yeah. Yeah. 18 days. They came into the studio. I said, look, this is what we're going to do. They left with a best-selling album. They had 7 abs minimum apiece. Yep. It was wild. Some of my best work. Some of the best work I've ever done.
For sure.
I'm pretty sure when that song came out, I was probably like 17 years old. I don't know how old it is. All right, we're going to kick it on out of here before things get weirder than they already are. Mm-hmm. You had your next level nugget?
Yeah, I would rather you do
Yep.
18 days of something for 30 minutes than one 9-hour thing.
Sustainability, that is the new frame. I know we want to make things sexy, but if we make them sustainable, they will get sexy eventually. And whatever sexy means, I don't necessarily mean physically, but just things add up. Things add up. Okay. Please join Next Level Nation if you have not yet. If you want a Next Level Dreamliner, it's somewhere in here. We have them in the show notes. They are on Amazon. I don't know where mine went. But I said this in a recent episode. If you want a free one, I will give you a free one. email me, kevin@nextleveluniverse.com. First person to email me and just say episode number, whatever episode number this is, 1613. Just say episode 1613, first one. I will ship it to you. We'll pay for everything. So that's how much we believe in. I want as many people to use it as possible. It's awesome. Alan is using it every day. I have used it once because it's been a rough year so far, but I've heard really good things from everybody who has used them.
It's sustainable.
Sustainable.
It is. It's sustainable. It only takes 10 minutes a day. If it took an hour a day, I'd never do it. I just know it.
I was very pleasantly surprised when I did it. I opened it and I said, "Oh, okay, this is fine." I'm just riding the struggle bus. That's it.
You'll get
Anything you want to say before we go? Just like looking at me.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, just looking at me, kind of staring at me. You know.
Two things. Number one, if you have not yet bought your ticket for Next Level Live, do it now. Do it now. If for whatever reason you hate the event, I will give you your money back. I promise. Okay? So, there's no risk. I hope you join us. You will not regret it. Also, book club every Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Courage to be Disliked has been proving to be a very philosophical book. A lot of us fear judgment. A lot of us are afraid to be disliked. A lot of us are held back by our opinions of our families, posting on social media, afraid they're going to see it. Judgment. This book is helping us all re-understand ourselves and each other at a deeper level. It's awesome. I hope you join. The link to register will also be in the show notes.
Tomorrow, for episode number 1614, can you be motivated without this? I know motivation is a somewhat sexy topic at times, but you need a certain number of things to actually have motivation. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep it sustainable. Next Level Nation.